Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFYLP, Transformers for Your Listening Pleasure, episode number 314, recorded January 12th, 2019. I am your host, Ron Land, a.k.a. Weird Wolf. Along with me this evening is Headmaster Don.
Hello, everybody. Rick
Alvarez.
Tonight's episode of TFLIP, I'll be enjoying a red California wine. This is called the Whole Shebang. It's a very dry wine. I've been drinking a lot of whites lately, so a red wine will be a nice change.
Jim Black.
Tonight I'll be enjoying a cup of filtered water.
Hey, I've been to BK, so you know. And joining us this evening is our special guest, Colin Douglas, the organizer of TFCon. Welcome to TFYLP once again.
Thanks for having me, guys. I feel left out because I don't have any beverages in hand here.
Well, since it is episode 314, do you have any pie?
Not currently.
314, 3.14.
Yeah, we get it. We get it on.
I have to explain the joke. It's not funny.
But tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about TFCon. If you guys have never heard of TFCon, what rock have you been under? I mean, it's been around. How many years has it been going now, Colin?
Well, the very first TFCon was actually 2002, and that was up in the Toronto area. TFCon started making its way to the U.S. in 2014. For the first year was in Chicago. Then out to Charlotte, back to Chicago, out to D.C., and then this year, we're in Los Angeles.
Dun, dun, dun! You've had a lot of people request the L.A. area, and
yeah.
What made you decide that 2019 is the year to head out west?
Well, it is the 35th anniversary of the Transformers, and we kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. There's a lot of actors out there that we wouldn't necessarily be able to bring together into one show. Them being there, it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to create the kind of experience where you can have this Generation 1 reunion, where there's a lot of people that are doing like kind of minor characters where they wouldn't necessarily be a draw for people to travel per se, but here we're able to get a lot of people in there that did those minor roles and get them all together in one place. So I know that a lot of the guests that we've been speaking to been pretty excited about the opportunity to meet their friends again. A lot of people haven't seen each other for a very, very long time. And I know that there's a lot of fans that are pretty excited to meet a lot of people that have never actually done a convention appearance before.
Now, is that also why it's so early in the year compared to how close it was to TFCon 2018? Because that's one thing I've heard from a lot of people, Colin, is they want to go, but the time frame between TFCon Chicago and the new one in 2019 is so short, a lot of people can't get the finances or the time off that quick as a turnaround. Is that why it's so early? Because that's when you can get the most number of people there for the reunion at that time frame?
Yeah, it's kind of a timing thing. There's other factors in place as well. But this is the time that we could make this work.
Okay.
And I understand that the East Coast has got a love for a long time. And something Rick was mentioning, there's a lot of people asking for a West Coast show, right? So, you know, this was the opportunity for us to be able to make this happen. So,
your audio.
it sounds like there's a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people. It wasn't that it was on the West Coast, because plenty of people have done BotCon on the West Coast. It was just how quick it was after Chicago. That was the one thing a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah, and one of the factors is if you look at there was supposed to be a HasCon this fall, right? So, and that's no longer happening as well. So we didn't want one of the one of the factors was we didn't want people to have to choose.
Rick, your audio again. Your wire is like. That's a bit better.
Look, I'm just gonna put this in the trash.
Yeah, put it beside all the Beast Machine stuff. It'll fit there.
Oh,
Oh,
Beast Machines
somebody
isn't
doesn't
that
like Beast
bad.
Right next to all my carded Thundercats.
Guarded Thundercats.
So, Colin, you have your first show on the West Coast. You talked about doing a cast reunion. So many guests have been announced. Do you have a list in front of you? Have you lost track of how many guests?
I have lost track. I've got a spreadsheet, actually, and I need my spreadsheet. Otherwise, I can't remember who's been booked and who is upcoming to be booked. So I know that some of the names that people are really excited about, Lori Fazo, who has never done a convention appearance before. So that's he is Orion Pax.
Oh.
Ooh.
He did. Sorry, I'd have to get my sheet because I can't remember all the voices that he actually did do. He was also Dive Bomb, Rampage, and Skydive in Generation 1. So there's 4 cool characters there that people have never had the opportunity to get autographs from before. Another first-timer is Michael Horton, was actually the voice of Chip Chase. So he wouldn't normally be, he's not somebody that I would normally book for a show, really have him travel across the country necessarily, because he's not really a toy character, and people are kind of more driven towards the toy characters, right? So
there's a Chip Chase character now coming out, isn't there?
Yeah.
An MP44?
Yeah, so there is the opportunities there. And we've also got Alan Oppenheimer, Arthur Burghardt, Bill Ratner, Dan Gilvezan, Jack Angel, Michael Bell, Melody Britt, which I don't know that a lot of people realize that she was the voice of Alana in Transformers Generation 1 until recently. When I was talking to her agent, she was saying, no, that was me in that thing. And we had a conversation. She remembers the when they did the that episode specifically, and being Alan Oppenheimer's love interest.
That was the Sea Spray episode, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So it's very.
The episode was Sea Change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while she's not really a big Transformers role, but she is huge for being She-Ra in Masters of the Universe, which has a big resurgence right now as well. So it's cool to be able to get her to come in for a signing one day. Morgan Lofting, Firestar Moonracer, Neil Ross, a whole bunch of G1, Paul Lighting, Perceptor, and then we've got a ton of writer guests as well. Some people that I haven't met before. Donald Glutt, who was a Generation 1 writer, Flint Dilley, who had to a couple of TFcons, and then Ron Freeman, who was actually the writer for the Transformers the movie. So another guy I haven't met. And we've also got, from the comic perspective, we've got Alex Milne, Casey Collar, and some Marcelo making his first appearance at TFCon, and then Jack Lawrence making his first North American convention appearance.
Marcelo's never been?
Never to a TFCon, no.
Oh, I thought he had.
Yeah, he was able to make it to some previous BotCons. He's actually never made it to TFCon before, so this will be cool having him attend this year.
This is Marcelo's first convention as a Canadian resident. So now he doesn't really
yeah, that's true. So it's funny that he's coming down to LA.
Fantastic. That's so many guests. I mean, that's more than I have fingers and toes combined. That's crazy.
Oh, and we're not done yet. There's going to be a lot more guests upcoming. I have to pull up my little spreadsheet.
And what blows my mind What kind of blows my mind is I had no idea that Morgan Lofting or Alan Oppenheimer were in Generation 1. I mean, Alan Oppenheimer, that's Skeletor. I'm just, you're breaking my brain.
He did Warpath.
Well, Sea Spray,
and I think you might have done Breakdown or Dead End.
Yeah. Now, Miss Lofting is best known for. She was the Baroness, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. That's what I know her as the Baroness, because the Baroness, the accent that. Oh, I love the accent.
Yeah. Alan Oppenheimer was also a beachcomber.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then if you want to talk about G.I. Joe, you've got Arthur Burkhart, Devastator, but he was also Destro in G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Cobra Commander.
The thing with me is, I be asking all these people that they worked on these two shows, but a couple of them I think also worked on Visionaries. So I'd be like, all right.
Well, it's those guys of that period. A lot of people have done multiple shows. We've got G.I. Joe, Transformers. Some people were in He-Man, and then Visionaries, Silverhawks, like Thundercats, all kinds of shows like that, right?
Yeah.
So, is there going to be some kind of mega litho poster item available that you're going to allow people to buy? So
I'm gonna make one up for myself. I can make one up for you too, and we can get it signed by everybody.
So it'll be 2 of 2.
But that's something that I am looking into seriously. Something that we can offer up, where we can have images of, say if somebody is interested in getting autographs from everyone, or perhaps they're just looking for a something commemorative of the event to remember the 35th anniversary of Transformers. That would be the kind of cool poster that we're looking at doing.
Now, are the with the special guests, are there going to be individual fees?
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
per person, or is there just like one overall fee?
No, it goes directly to the talent. So it would be directly to the person. So those will be posted to our website prior to the convention as well. So we're not done with announcing guests yet.
Plus, the good thing is you could probably get some really great charity items with all.
Well, we'll definitely be getting a lot of those as well. Yeah,
because like say if you did 5 lithographs with all the guest pictures and you had them everybody sign it. You could probably get a lot of money for the charities.
Yeah, well, my plan is to have one of those for the charity auction for TFCon Toronto this year. So in the green room, I'll have a couple of those set aside, and I'll ask our guests to sign those pieces for us. And it'll be interesting to see how much money we're able to raise this year for that. It'll be pretty fantastic, I think.
Well, Colin, I got another question. I don't get. Back when I was doing BotCon was my thing. You know, I've been to every BotCon but one, and started in '94 with John and Carl, and I ended in 2016. I only missed one the entire time, and I've been trying to get to more TFCons. It's just with work and everything else, it's difficult to do all that. But one thing I've always liked about TFCon is your exclusives. Now, I've noticed y'all have gone from more you having exclusives that you've done yourself, and there's a lot of exclusives being done by the companies, by fans' toys, fans' hobbies, whatever the case may be, which is great because that way you get a lot more of a selection from all these companies with these exclusive products than y'all having to do it yourself and jump through all the hurdles to get 1 or 2 exclusives. So that's great because you get more choices. Can you give us any hints about the possible exclusives people can look forward to? I mean, if it maybe just even if you can't tell us the figures, of course, some companies or just something to get for the people that go for the toys as much as the talent.
Well, I think that if you look at the history over the last couple of years, you can kind of see which companies our partners have that relationship with. I like how everybody's got to like take like these huge swigs of.
I'm just making fun of Rick there.
I've got this this empty. It's like a Texas-sized Mickey in the basement. I should have brought that up, and I could take a swig from that.
Well, I just had pizza a while ago for dinner, so I'm washing down the pizzas. That's my fault there.
But yeah, like I don't want to say it's we're gonna have from this or that. We do have agreements in place where our partners are working on different things.
How many exclusives? Can you at least give us an idea of how many people can look?
There will be a minimum of 3.
Okay.
And the thing is too, sometimes these things they're run a little tight, and we don't know necessarily whether or not they're going to be able to make it in time for this convention. It might be the next convention where they'd have to be offered. So it's not a kind of thing where I want to say, oh yeah, this is going to be there, and then it's not going to show up. Yeah. That's why the announcements for exclusives are very close to the actual show date, because we want to make sure that everything's in place, everything's completed production-wise, because you never know what can happen, right?
Right. Well, it's like we had a friend from RFC, Eric Cronover, was at TFCon, and he was going to try to pick me up the Fans Project Constructo, which is a retool and remold of Steel Core, which is one of their original and probably one of their best figures they've done as an original concept figure. But the Constructo just sold out just, like that. I finally had to get one off the Fans Project site itself. So, yeah, I mean, they show up in limited quantities because, like you said, sometimes it's down to the wire. And if a shipment is late, it's...
And sometimes it's only partial shipments that make it to the show as well. That's happened in the past. So we offer it up to the people that I believe our premium package is sold out for the show. But we do offer them up to people that come in early on the Friday night, offered up to those people. They can pick up the exclusives. Then you don't have to wait in line for half hour, 45 minutes, however long it is to make it through the line and purchase those items on the Saturday morning. Gives them the opportunity to go through the convention hall and find those other good deals that they're looking for, right? So it's just kind of a convenience thing.
I do want to point out, listeners, if you're or viewers, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook Live, you can comment on the video, and it shows up on the live stream on both YouTube and Facebook. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the YouTube comments, which seem to be going pretty good. And on the right-hand side, we got the Facebook Live comments, which I goofed and I had it set to the wrong live feed. And I just refreshed it, so hopefully they'll start popping up here shortly. But if you'd like to ask Colin any questions about TFCon or in general, feel free to ask them on here, and if we get a chance or find it pertinent, we'll ask them here live. So ask away, people.
Well, Colin, is there anything that you wanted to do with the shows in the past that you've not been able to do? Stuff that maybe if you told people, well, we wanted to do this, but we couldn't because of whatever reason. Maybe if people voice opinion that they want it, something you can look at doing later on down the road. Because I'm sure y'all got so many ideas you can't implement them all.
Well, a lot of things it comes down to with a lot of shows is manpower. I know that there's people, we'd like to have a video room, or we'd like to do this or that, but it's really hard to find volunteers to be able to help run the show. So anybody, if you want to volunteer your time at the show, we've got a volunteer application right on the website. We're always looking for new people to join our crew, and makes it a lot easier for us to make things happen for you guys. Understand that people want to enjoy their vacation and enjoy the show, but we're not that bad of a group of people to hang out with. So What's that?
Membership does have its perks.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You know, like you'll just behind the scenes stuff that people are able to have the opportunity to take part in. Yeah, and from a perspective of things that I was never able to do that I wanted to do, always my biggest regret was never being able to get Buster Jones to the convention. I was talking to him the year that he passed, trying to get him to get out and get a passport, but I think that he just wasn't in a state where he was able to make that happen. And I did have the opportunity to talk to him and meet with him at a BotCon, which was nice. I just wish that I really wanted to bring him to Toronto that year, and unfortunately wasn't able to make that happen. So that's kind of a regret from my perspective. But on the flip side, I've had a lot of great people been able to come out, like Dick Gauthier, who passed the previous year as well. Fantastic guy. I was really happy to be able to bring him out and have him meet people, because he had only done the one BotCon, and that was the only appearance he had made, and that was I think in 2002 or something like that.
Some listener questions right here. The Transformers Canadian Slag podcast asks, I got a question. Why is Colin so sexy?
Well, Chris. You know, it's all about the turtle wax.
The turtle wax. Let's see here. Winston Leggett says, "Will you ever bring TFCon to Baltimore?"
It's a possibility. We're always looking at different opportunities. Kind of, it depends on whether or not there's a good, well, I wouldn't say good venue, but a good opportunity with the venue. So it has to be feasible from a cost perspective. We want to try to keep shows close to airports, so people have a free shuttle back and forth whenever that opportunity is there. That's kind of the different kind of things that we scout out, and we want to keep it as Baltimore is not a bad location because it's in a good population density as well, right? So East Coast is obviously a place that I definitely want to go back to. So you never know what will happen.
Yeah, you know, I would throw it out there that Louisville is a very centrally located city, and the Crown Plaza Hotel, which is a very nice one, is literally right across the interstate from the airport. So,
well, you know, it's like I loved Reston because that was like a 3-hour drive for me. It was a nice area. Yeah. It was, you know, that was a real big. It was sort of like, oh, good, BotCon 2001's in Durham. It's like an hour away, you know, because everybody wants it to be in their backyard.
Yeah,
obviously.
And it's understandable. It makes it a lot easier when it's to travel to. But one of the things we need to look at, trying to make it accessible to multiple people, and I think that's one of the nice things that when John and Carl were first looking at the whole way of doing BotCon, and back in the day, and everybody else that was running the conventions, kind of moving around from city to city, really did create that opportunity to kind of reach multiple fans in different geographical locations that wouldn't normally be able to afford to travel, and they get that opportunity to meet up with other fans. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's when we started doing TFCon USA. That was one of the things that kind of wanted to look at, is get into different opportunities and for people to come out and experience the show.
So I really like behind the scenes stuff, and I was wondering, to go back to exclusives for a second, was there ever an exclusive product that you or someone had worked on and it just never came to fruition that you feel comfortable telling us
Off the top of my head, there's not really anything that we really ever put a huge amount of time and effort into. I know that for me, if something isn't working, I just move on to something else, right? I don't really dwell on it or anything. Honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head. These days, I'm not as hands-on with development of exclusives for TFCon. That's something that our partners work with directly with the company. We kind of have the concept. We know like what they're working on, and then the back and forth is something that they're really working on directly with those guys. I've ideas pitched to me, and like, oh, okay, well, this character in this color would be cool because it's like a Diaclone throwback or whatever, but for whatever reason, maybe it doesn't happen, right? So I'm sure that when I'm saying that, it's something that's still current, and maybe it'll get produced by someone else or as a retailer exclusive or released at mass retail. So I'm not really going to say what it is, but there's no real regrets. Let's put it that way.
A couple more questions here. Our own Lucas Bockelman, he asks, how do you go about choosing locations for TFCon?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. We want to look at a good population area. We want to look and make sure the venue can kind of support and be able to provide what we kind of need for the event. We got the space, like a minimum requirements for our dealer room. We've got minimum requirements for a panel room. We need to have like breakout rooms and other areas. And I like to do things in a hotel just because it makes it easier for people to take their toys back to their hotel rooms, right? So
someplace like Indianapolis, then maybe.
Yeah, we'll do it in everybody's. We'll do it in everybody's garage before TFCon ends.
Understand. Peter Spellis comes here like every month, so I mean, there's got to be something to that.
Matthew Baldwin asks, this is a big question, and actually I've heard it tossed around and seen it tossed around on Facebook, even heard it at TFCon USA last year after the show. Several people were speculating on this. Matthew Baldwin asks, could you all do 2 shows in the U.S. In a year, one on West Coast and one on East Coast? What is the possibility of that?
Well, I guess it's possible to be able to do it. Right now, there's no plan for a TFCon in the fall.
So that quashes that.
And Colin, when is TFCon Canada this year?
It's July, so mid-July, 12th to 14th. So it's actually really close to, obviously, Detroit. It's like 3 hours from Detroit, 8 hours from Chicago. Albany, I think it's like 4 hours. Like 2 hour drive. Like it's pretty close. It could be a 4 hour drive. But like it's in that area. It's like where Niagara Falls is. It's basically an hour north of that. So it's great for a lot of people that make that drive. They like the fact that they can kind of, whether or not they're with their significant other or not, sometimes they'll do that drive. I know that Rick has done that before, where he's stopped in at Niagara Falls. And it's a good excuse to bring somebody along, right? You can kind of work it into a sightseeing thing as well as a toy convention.
Yep, you know what? I'm old now. I'm going to be 40 this year. So I just fly it.
Well, if it's more than 8 hours, I'll typically fly now.
Yeah, I just, my old age, I need a room to myself. I just need to fly.
And a bottle of wine.
Just for the afternoon.
for each
Colin,
for each day.
I got a question for you, Colin.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered, with BotCon being gone. And I'm not. And TFCon, a lot of people, myself included, love TFCon the way it is. Have you ever gave thought about approaching Hasbro and becoming the official convention to replace BotCon? I mean, have you ever considered doing that?
Well, I'd be lying if it wasn't something I haven't thought about. I know that question actually got asked me this year in TFCon Chicago. And basically what I said there was, I used to think that I wanted to do an official convention, but from what I understand, there'd be a lot of red tape involved, and being independent and really allows me the opportunity to keep the show as fan friendly as possible, being able to do the things that we want as fans, and not have to focus on the people that are involved in the products that are being released right now, which, okay, well, like I'm sure Siege is pretty cool. There's a lot of cool toys in there. But there's going to be other stuff that collectors aren't really going to be. Oh, there you go. Nice figure. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that people aren't going to really, from a collector's standpoint, people aren't going to necessarily care that much about.
Right.
But, and it goes back to the nostalgia factor, and I think that Hasbro is more, and you can see that from those of you that, if anybody did go to HasCon, you can see that's what they wanted to do, was really focus in on the new stuff, right? And there's not really any interest in promoting vintage or previous shows and having guests in terms of previous voice actors from the Generation 1 or Beast Wars or anything that's fairly recent that people would be into, because that's not the current thing that they're marketing, right? So when it comes down to it, collecting is part of nostalgia, and nostalgia is the stuff that really isn't being marketed as much these days. Siege stuff, obviously, there's a huge draw there, but it's going back to that nostalgia factor. Yeah.
See, even Headmaster Don likes them. Even after he said, "I'm not going to get any of those things."
I'll publicly admit I was wrong about. So far, I've only opened up Siege Optimus and Sideswipe. Sideswipe is still okay. It's just
okay.
Well, yeah, it's just when they said War for Cybertron Siege, I'm thinking pre-Earth modes, not kind of sort of Earth mode, because but it's a very good transformation. But I want to open up him and Sideswipe. But anyway, I get what you're saying, Colin, about the whole red tape, because it seemed like for every benefit, John and Carl and working with Hasbro, they had a certain relationship, and then it became official when FubPub took over. And it seemed like for every benefit, there was an equally frustrating negative that you had to balance out between being official and unofficial. So I didn't know if that was something that had ever crossed your mind or not.
Well, it has, but I don't really like having to ask permission for the stuff that I want to make happen, right? So I'm always open to suggestions, and I love it when people come up with a new idea that I haven't thought about and that we were able to do, but I don't want to be forced to have to move in a certain direction because of a corporate request, right? Yeah.
That being said, if there was an official box this year, get all those Siege figures in Shattered Glass colors.
I would have no problem with that. I'm sorry. I would love to see this guy done up in the shattered glass colors. I mean, it's
a couple comments from our Facebook Live feed. Mark Baker Wright says, as someone who lives on the West Coast, I'm glad that a Transformers-focused convention is finally coming out this way. Folks out east get them all the time. What's that? You're very low, Rick, so whenever you... I know you...
I said that Mark Baker Wright. I hadn't heard his name in a while.
Sven Michael May says, I don't think Hasbro wants an official con that isn't HasCon. And with the politics at play this year, even that may start being downplayed. So, I do like that's something that several people and I have actually discussed before. And I think we've even mentioned it here on the show, is one of the great things about TFCon is the lack of the official presence there, in that they're not out there policing everybody, and you don't feel like you're being watchdogged. You don't have to, there doesn't have to be hidden third-party sales in rooms, because you're allowed to just go and be a fan at TFCon. That's what I've always loved about it.
That's true. That's very true.
That has to be that has got to be the weirdest thing I ever seen at any of the BotCons I ever went to. Was when one or two of the vendors, I don't remember if it was BBTS or who it was, got their booth shut down.
TF Source. It was TF Source at the last BotCon.
Had posted police officers at the booth to make sure nobody moved anything, nobody touched anything for the whole show. And I just that whole situation caused the entire dealer room to feel so uncomfortable of an environment for me. It's like I can see, wanting to protect your intellectual property and that, and if they violate a guideline in the contract, maybe issue a fine or something. But to post an officer in a toy vendor room, it felt weird.
Well, I think what happened was they set up a third-party dealer room in an adjacent hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they did.
And then Hasbro got wind of that, and that's why they had to kind of ask them to stop in order to have them resume their booth.
Orson was going to do that for Captured Prey. He actually had a room set aside at an adjacent hotel for Captured Prey third-party sales. Well, whenever it was found out that was going to be, he's like, well, I can't do it, because they was not going to even allow him in the dealer room if he did that. So rather than lose the money on the room, he just threw a banquet for all the fans and closest friends of Captured Prey. So no loss there at that, but it was still...
Yeah, and one of the things I always say to people is, with TFCon, what I do is I run the convention that I would want to come to as a fan. And that's ultimately what it comes down to.
So let's end on a really happy note. There's a lot of guests coming to TFCon. I'm going to put this out there. Is there anyone that you wanted to announce for the first time that might be coming, or are you still guarding the rest of the guests?
Well, I am guarding, but I do have another group set up to announce, and I think what I'm going to do is announce one tonight. So this is a gentleman that you're pretty familiar with, I think, Rick. Eric Siebenthaler, creator of Transformers Animated.
Right.
He has made the trip from Rhode Island to Los Angeles. This is now living in LA. So he is going to be there at the convention. Yeah. So really nice guy, although I remember there was one night at a BotCon where we're up to like 4 a.m. drinking in a hotel room, and I was trying to fall asleep, and he kept punching me in the leg. So hopefully he's not going to do that at TFCon to keep waking me up.
He's a little more tame now that he's got the kids. Still are.
Yes, we all are.
I haven't seen Seabass in about 3 years.
Yeah.
Seabass. He was definitely my closest compatriot while I was at Hasbro.
Yeah, really, really good guy. So excited to have him there because he's never been to a TFCon before. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to I'm going to post that up on the TFCon website and social media shortly.
And everyone should bring their Armada laser beaks to have signed by
yes, that's the first toy he ever designed.
Well, Rick, I don't want to say this, but that many laser beaks in one place would cause so much suckage. A black hole would form and engulf the entire complex.
It's another Cloverfield movie.
You sure it wouldn't be an orange hole?
No, it sucks so much it changes the color spectrum. It goes all the way to black.
Oh.
But he did design some really cool toys too, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, Transformers Animated was a pretty impressive line. The fact that they were able to have the toys look pretty much identical to the cartoon, and that's a pretty good accomplishment right there.
Now,
and I do remember he was on the Star Wars line, and that's when they started Transformers Black Series. Was right after that when he was on that line. So I got to ask him if he had a hand in that.
I can tell you right now, the Black Series are not designed by Hasbro.
No, but just the fact that it happened like 6-inch. I said to him, you need to do 6-inch Star Wars now that you're on the Star Wars line. And like 6 months later, there was a 6-inch Star Wars out on the stores.
You know, this was just as I was getting to Hasbro. There was a set, I think there was 4 6-inch G.I. Joe prototypes. And somebody lifted them. They disappeared. So I wanted to put them on display when JoeCon came to Rhode Island, and somebody scouted with them, and they've never been seen since.
Mm.
Wow.
But, yeah, sucks. Some of the unproduced titaniums, too. But
I really enjoyed it when we had Eric on the podcast here. It's been, about 2 years now since we had him and Wayne Park on the show? I'd say it's been about 2 years. They were fantastic guests, and to be able to have people to have a chance to meet them in person again. I know they were at BotCons before, but now that they're away from the Hasbro limelight and have a chance to talk more freely, I guess it would be really awesome to sit down and pick their brain in panels. So. I feel envious of people that get to go to the con this year for that reason. I really wish I could go, but seeing as I just started a new job and no vacation till next year, so I'm out. but it's shaping up to be a really great con. I don't think I've ever seen as many G1 voice actor guests in one show.
There's going to be a lot more. It looks like I've got 1, 2, 3. Quite a few more. This is just a fraction of the guest list. It's just a matter of people kind of confirming that they're able to. I'm just waiting for people to sign on, basically. We've talked to a ton of people, and basically anybody that lives in Los Angeles has been invited to this event. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll see how many of them are. There's a couple people that definitely can't come. They've said that they're not able to come, but there's going to be a lot more guest announcements over the next little while. So West Coast, you're in for a treat. But don't worry, East Coast, we'll see you again soon.
Awesome. Real quick, what are the odds of some Beast Wars actors being there?
There's some pretty good odds. I would bet that there'll probably be a couple people.
Maybe one like we had during the big broadcast of 2018 at our last episode. Doesn't David Kay live there?
He does, actually.
You know what? If he,
Yes. Can barely hear you, Rick.
there might be an opportunity from some people from the 2000 Car Robot RID cast.
Oh.
They're all out.
Yeah, I know Neil Kaplan is actually busy that weekend. I think he's somewhere else that weekend. So
There he goes, enslaving another galaxy again. Darn that.
Well, Colin, I know you said you've got limited time today, and we've kept you a little bit longer. But is there any closing thoughts that you might want to leave the viewers before you go?
No, you know what? If you want to keep up to date with our stuff, just check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, TFCon.com. For anybody that's able to make it, hope you have a great time. For those of you that can't, we haven't forgotten about you, so we'll see you sooner than you think, hopefully. So thanks again for having me on. And you guys have a great night.
It's been a pleasure, Colin. Thanks for joining us again.
All right, take care, guys.
So much energy and for not being monotone. I really appreciate that.
Not being monotone.
We love you.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, let me get Jim down here. And oh my gosh, it's Jim. He's
a wild Jim has appeared.
So that's the breaking news. Eric Siebenaler will be a guest at Los Angeles. Good friend of mine.
That is really awesome.
Yeah. Everyone needs to bring their Armada laser beams. Get a monograph.
Yeah, I would love to go, but apparently I was informed the other day that my girlfriend and I are taking an early Thanksgiving cruise. So it's like
April,
October. But I'm saying saving up for the cruise. It's like, well, we're doing that. Yeah, we're doing that. Okay. Surprise!
I can just see Headmaster Dawn walking down a Caribbean beach in a Hawaiian shirt and the farmer's tan, flip flops.
Hey! If Nick Wilde can pull it off as Zootopia, I can pull off a Hawaiian shirt too. Just gotta lose a little weight here, so I don't want to scare people off the island.
So that's what a hermit crab looks like.
Well, yeah. No one wants to see me in a thong. Okay.
Oh! God, get that image out of me. Oh! I burned my eyes out.
See, I developed a defense mechanism for that years ago. Whenever someone says thong, I automatically think of the shoe type of thong. And nothing happened.
You're weird, Jim. You're weird.
Yes, but you love me. Do we have any? Do we have any out to my wallet at all?
Actually, that was the next segue there, and that's a great segue.
Oh.
Fantastic!
I have an out to my wallet.
Rick, are you trying to take flight or?
Rick might be excited.
I have it out to my wallet, but it's not Transformers related. I'm going to do it.
He's so excited he might fall over, and we could actually have a Rick roll on.
I've not seen Rick flail like that.
Shut up! I'm going to do it out to my wallet right now.
If that's a carded jog, I'm going to kill you. Oh, you got Groon. I hate you. That's a carded Groon. God, that's in good shape. No, Rick, hold it flat. Hold it flat. Hold it flat. No. Yeah. You got almost no bend on the card. Oh, jeez, I hate it.
Sure, but the tag's really nice. You know, it came with a nice Tuska Warrior carded as well. But
Don needs a handkerchief. He's sitting there. Oh my!
At least it's not a Bengali. I would come through the screen if you had a carded Bengali. Don't you dare!
No, I don't have a carded Bengali, but I had Bengali when I was a kid.
I never had. That's the only one. That's one of the ones I never got. I never had a chance to get. I never saw one that I can remember. God, if you had a card of Bengali, I would come through the screen.
I had Bengali and Linkso as a kid.
Oh.
I remember opening both of them up.
I got lucky. I've got the new Pumara, the Classics Pumara, but I never got a chance to get the Bengali. God, I hate you.
Yeah, and I also have a Groon.
Yeah, you know what?
You hate me, plus I also have a Groon.
On the card.
Yeah,
sealed.
Carded Groon. Yep.
Green.
Well, Jim, since you brought it up, do you have an Ouch My Wallet?
Yes, I do. I actually have a few things I've recently obtained. Because you know me, I'm always on the lookout for discounts, coupons, whatever, sales. And so I recently picked up one that I've been meaning to pick up for ages. I just didn't. It's the Target exclusive Iron Man versus Mega Man X 2-pack from Gamerverse. It's Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. And I am a sucker for all things Mega Man, so Mega Man X.
How did your face? Because the faces on those looked a little. I'm not a Mega Man fan, but I know what the face shouldn't look like, and some of them faces.
Not too bad. I don't know if you can make it out too well.
Yeah. He's not quite got the My Little Pony derpy cross eyes.
Right. I did see a few of them that looked like that, but fortunately this one didn't suffer that. Also ended up with Studio Series B.
Yeah, I opened mine, Duron, and I sold them. I sold them the day after I opened them.
Too bad.
I just did not like them.
And I don't recall if I mentioned having got this for Christmas or not, but I got Hot Rod.
With the correct positioning in the package.
No, I
turned it.
I turned it.
Oh, you turned it around.
Yeah.
Well, now, actually, there were reports coming through. We talked about this on RFC 2 weeks ago. There are reports of second batches coming incorrect.
There are, yes. Yeah, there are.
Yeah, I didn't know if y'all. Yeah, I never saw any because they all were.
Matter of fact, one of the local Walmarts in the area, I was in about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was right after Christmas. They had like 12 G1 reissue hot rods. About 4 of them were backwards in the package, like initially came out, and all the rest of them were the right way.
Yeah.
Dude, I need a corrected one, Duron. I need a correct one. I found an Optimus today.
I've got the backwards one.
Really? Is he $49.96?
After taxes, it was $53.40 something.
Oh my god! I was so hoping it would.
I've not seen it in stock yet, but the tag is on the shelf because they're redoing the mods in a lot of the stores right now.
Oh
Here's
god!
The thing.
I
found them in the Hot Wheels section.
Really?
What?
They probably thought it was those metals, the 132 scale.
They probably thought it was like a car. So he was.
Rick, I'm going to ask you this, Rick, since you have insider knowledge. What would make Hasbro think that Optimus is worth so much more at retail, being a less complicated toy than the Hot Rod?
It's not about complication, though.
Or materials.
They don't set the price, man. Walmart sets the price.
It's Ouch My Walmart instead of Ouch My Wallet.
Well, it's just
Walmart's probably making, I would say, well over 50%. If they sell at $50.
So you're thinking it's higher because it's Optimus, probably.
Yeah.
Because the character.
Optimus, it's die cast. But I put that aside. He's got both pairs of fists in it, which is cool. But no, he's got one pair of fists, both pair of guns.
Yeah.
I haven't opened mine
The
yet.
bloated gun and the regular
What
gun,
is
right?
really, really cool about it is that it's the first time we've had an Optimus in a regular Autobot G1 car-sized box.
Yeah.
That is what's really cool about it.
I want it just for that reason.
I suspect that they'll sneak up one with one that includes the trailer later on after everybody's already bought this version.
It's just going to be the trailer, actually. It's just going to be the trailer.
that'd be great.
And it's going to be $79.99.
Yeah.
For this.
Well, and the downside is all of your loose trailers now on eBay are going to be going up because people will want to get a trailer to go with Optimus.
I doubt it.
So there'll probably be a short-term increase on the trailers.
I mean, though, if you're a G1 collector, I mean, chances are you already have a G1 Optimus in some form, from some reissue or an original or some. There's been so many reissues. I think the last reissue was
2008.
the Moon or last night. It came in.
It was.
I think
Transformers for Life 801 said on YouTube, said last time I saw an Optimus box even close to the G1 box was the Dark of the Moon Special Edition. So I'm assuming Dark of the Moon Special Edition version.
There, I think it was Dark of the Moon. It was a Takara, very limited exclusive. It came just the Convoy, just the Optimus, no trailer, with the movie Optimus, the major movie toy, and Megatron, the G1 Megatron.
Yeah, it's like a then and now set, kind of.
Yeah. I don't have the Optimus. I actually picked up the Megatron versus Megatron on clearance in Japan.
Wow.
Last time I was there.
Now, Jim, was that Starscream on clearance? Because all my Starscreams are gone.
Well, I found out a little bit of a hack. If you have the Walmart app, you can search the on-hand stock at different Walmarts. So I was looking around the ones here in Indianapolis, and I have to think, I was like, I wonder what some of the Walmarts over around Terre Haute might still have, because that's a smaller town, right?
Or you could just use BrickSeek.
I know, but you can search multiple Walmarts quicker than BrickSeek with the Walmart app. But found out that the Walmart in Brazil, which is just like 10, 15 miles east of Terre Haute, not the country, I know.
I started to say, like, what? How's that local?
Brazil, Indiana.
Bridge.
It had the Starscream for it was less than $30, and the Devastator for less than 40.
Oh, I've missed the Devastator. I never did get the Devastator, and I need one badly.
I bought one when it came out, and then I found one for $54 on clearance, and I didn't want to risk it selling, so I'm like, $54 for a second one, that's fine. I'm going to give that one to my daughters.
35.
Ah!
Booyah.
The only complaint that I have about that is that it doesn't have the animated head from the reissue from, I think, 2012.
Yeah, I know that head, and I've always preferred the toy head. I don't know. The toon head never really looked right.
And hey, Rick, or Jerron, you might know this too. The long haul with the slot in the front, was that only in certain countries, or how was that supposed to work? Because some long hauls, I've got a long haul.
I didn't know there was even a variant on long haul.
Yeah. There's one has a slot where the bottom of the chest shield is supposed to peg into the slot in long haul. But I've never understood where the slotted one was supposed to come from.
You know what?
I believe that was a carryover from Diaclone, but it might have been used in the box set as opposed to the carded versions. Because you know how there's the different mold variations with it, where they sometimes fit more loose or more snug with the accessories. Now the I don't know if you remember the Walgreens versions where you had like a red scrapper and a purple bone crusher and that. You remember those?
Yeah.
In that set, the long haul had the slot, and the chest shield had the longer tab, and it would secure into long haul as opposed to attaching the hook. So I'm thinking that may have been a carryover from some kind of Diaclone, possibly. I guess. But I've seen the long haul with the tab, and I've seen the long haul with the tab that's filled in, but you could still see where the tab was.
Right.
There's so many variations on G1 stuff. That's what keeps driving me.
I don't know how John and Carl kept up with it without going crazy.
I can't even imagine.
Right now, I'm focusing on my G1 Seekers variants. Different fists with
have fun.
Yeah, all the different like fists and the back fins with the numbers on them and the stamps.
Yeah.
I think I'm up to like 4 G1 hounds.
You know what that reminds me of? half circle Boba Fett, full circle Boba Fett, long saber, shorts. No, not no.
Funny you say that. I actually have those over here. We're sitting next to me. I can't sell them. I can't sell them for anything.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, a friend of mine said, "Don, why are you so burned out on Star Wars?" And I said, "You weren't alive during Power of the Force. You can't understand how bad Power of the Force burns."
Long tray, short saber, and
God.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Since I
That's why I
actually
only collect vehicles. I don't collect the figures anymore. I just collect the vehicles. That's all I do now. I just collect Star Wars vehicles.
It was such a dark time. Such a dark time.
But I actually, I've only had the Starscream and the Devastator since earlier today because I met up with the guy that picked them up for me in Brazil and did the trade that way. But I had a chance, probably about 20 minutes or so before the show, to actually open up and look through everything. Excuse me. I have to say the Megatron gun and the new fist for Starscream, I kind of like. It's a little weird looking at the fists, but it works. It works. And the Devastator, I'm impressed with the changes they've made to the molds. Because I noticed there are now, like in Bone Crusher's feet, there are like little nubs for kind of a ratchet type thing to securely hold it in place. His forearms, the green parts now have a tab to help him stay together when he's in the bulldozer mode. Yeah, just subtle changes here and there, and you got to look closely to spot them. But
now I want one even more now.
Yeah, I can tell they looked at the vintage pieces, and they tried their best to kind of incorporate more modern engineering in still preserving the classic figure. So things fit together more snugly now. It just, I don't know. It's just I like it. I've still got the vintage one, of course. You know, I'm never gonna not have a vintage one.
I have to have my vintage. It's my very first Transformer was in it. So,
but this is just nice. And you know what? In the box, it's just downright pretty. You know, it's definitely the type of thing you want to have on display.
Definitely.
Very cool.
So, on. You have an Ouch My Wallet?
Well, actually, I did. A couple things I don't have handy, but you know, I did win this great thing in a great group called the Robo Pimps. Another shout out. Yeah, the Siege Optimus there, and with Lionizer. I already had Megatron, thanks to our wonderful Jim Black there in the Secret Santa from a couple weeks ago. So if you don't remember that, check out the big broadcast of 2018. Episode, was it 312? I think? No. Yeah, 312.
Yeah, 312.
Just a couple weeks ago. It's here on our YouTube channel, and if you scroll down on Facebook, I'm sure the Facebook live feed is there as well. Got those. I also picked up the Road Handler and Swindler. This was essentially my Christmas present to myself, and everything. I chose something cheap, so I got those guys. I'm really pleased with them. I like them a lot. And then tonight I picked up, and I haven't even had a chance to open it yet, Siege Ultra Magnus. He looks awesome.
Seeing the reviews for that looks amazing.
It does. It's
crazy that you remember. I don't know who was at the BotCon 2005 where they showed the first great prototype images of Generations toys. I was in that panel room. Don, were you there?
I believe I was there.
Yeah, I was at 2005, but at this point, Rick, they all blend.
So 2005 BotCon, Hasbro unveiled the gray models for Optimus, Starscream, and the very last one was Megatron, and he was a gun. And
the classics.
Yeah, the classics. The
Nerf N-Spec Maverick
was just so intense. And then to think that all these years later, like, we're still getting classics figures generate, whether they're branded classics, generation, Hunt for the Decepticons.
They're blowing even those earlier ones out of the water.
Yeah,
Well,
we're getting Micromasters.
Siege Optimus is Classics 2.0 Prime.
He's almost a mini masterpiece, in my opinion.
I would,
Well, I mean, if they remolded the top of the cab and the front of the headlights, he could very easily, and also remove the fin. If I could talk tonight, I've had a very long day. If they could remove the fenders from the wheel wells on the back of the cab, he would be straight up a G1 Prime. I mean, he's the posability, the detail. I mean, he's absolutely phenomenal. I love this toy. I wish he was a bit bigger, but I still like him a lot. I mean, I could even see a way that you could really mold in a matrix, make a matrix to put in that chest there. I mean,
hey, that cavity there in the chest, can the like Titan Masters or not Titan Masters, the what am I thinking of? Power of the Primes, Prime Masters, can they fit in there?
Well, not in vehicle mode because he has the fake grill issue.
Well, yeah, that and the head does that in vehicle.
Okay, but in robot mode though, because on the Matrix for like Optimus and Rodimus and them, you had the handles outside, but then you had the Prime Master size Matrix.
I suppose you could put one in there.
All right, let me interject real quick.
I'm actually curious. What is that?
See, it's when you have it in vehicle mode, there's a sculpted matrix on that piece of plastic.
Wow.
So you do have it for vehicle mode anyway.
On what piece of plastic? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I guess that answers my question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
Years ago, a third-party company would have come along and made a matrix that fits in that cavity.
Oh, absolutely.
Over 10 years ago, that's where third party was at. But I lost my train of thought.
Your astral train of thought transformed and flew into outer space.
I lost the point I was going to
Do
make.
you have Power of the Prime's Optimus handy nearby?
To me?
Yeah. Or Don or anybody?
Power of the Prime's Prime is like way back there, so no.
Okay.
Oh, this is the point I was trying to make. Yes. All right. So 10 years ago, a third-party company would have made some kind of piece that fits in there and like a flat matrix that fits in there, right? Oh, hang on.
Are you thirsty, Don? Are you thirsty, Rick?
So, do you guys remember back in like the late 1990s when Leo Convoy came out?
Yeah.
And Dom, you were the only one who was alive back then, besides me. Do you remember when Leo Convoy came out and his chest panel opened and it showed the Matrix?
Yeah.
Do you remember how revolutionary that was back then?
Yeah. Because Fire Convoy had something very similar as well.
Yep.
This was before Fire Convoy.
Yeah, but yes, I remember that because it was the first time I think we had gotten a representation of the Matrix on a toy.
And then Beast Wars Neo, Fleet Convoy came out, and he had an actual Matrix.
Yes, yeah, that was the first actual separate piece that could be held. He could hold it like he would in the show, which is the first time you had a removable Matrix.
He carried it in his chest. You had a panel that opened, and you can remove the Matrix. How revolutionary was that? And we get to the point, here we are 20 years later, and we have a million different, we have light-up matrices, we have matrices on chains. Now, if it doesn't come with a matrix, we're like, no matrix? Screw that. No matrix?
Yeah.
It's
a perfect example of how jaded we can become as fans, And where did this come from?
It still amazes me, like, when now that I've been working on my basement and trying to finish it, I'm going through boxes and I see things and I look at that, book reissue Optimus Prime that came with the Matrix. I'm like, wow, this was a G1 Optimus that came with a Matrix leadership that fit in his chest. How crazy is that?
Well, now
I put that out in '86.
Well, now I picked this up. You may remember this, Rick. Tony Prito had a limited number of these at one of the BotCons. It was a resin cast Matrix in a little gray container that fit in G1 Optimus's chest in robot mode. That when you opened it up, it had a little resin cast Matrix in there. That was one of the first Matrixes that I recall being created to make your G1 Prime have a Matrix.
Do you remember how revolutionary it was when the first parts forming Ultra Magnus trailer came out for that Classics Optimus?
City Commander? I've got every version of that. I love City Commander.
Revolutionary that was?
City Commander,
Yes.
Power Commander.
I have every version of that armor except for the Shattered Glass, because the actual Shattered Glass Fans Project I think was an exclusive. It was very expensive, and I've heard the KO is not very well done. So I don't have the Shattered Glass version.
I think I have a KO sitting around here from Tony Prado, actually. But yeah, it's like, when you think about all right, where third party is now with super high def masterpiece figures that that super amazing G1 accurate cartoon Optimus Prime's $109 versus
the Magic Square
$150, right? And you trace back to 2004, 2005 at OTFCC, and you're like, City Commander trailer, Matrix, roller, trailer, just the trailer for a Classics Optimus Prime. I mean,
the
that's
Fans Project one with the mirror sides. I have that.
Yeah, to think about how far that part of collecting has come. It's amazing.
Rick, that needs to be your next book. The history of third party.
So many people
that
have
needs to be your next book.
That, but it's too much. It's too. It's.
I don't think it's possible to go over it all.
I mean, not from maybe up to the point where the companies start getting blurry. After that point,
so the beginning, then.
It's hard to know who is really who anymore. But up until Fans Project, up until Mastermind, up until TFC and Hercules, up until that era, the companies was pretty much matched for their products. You didn't have this gray area of who actually is making what. But just a visual history of the third-party toy from City Commander to Quietus would be a fascinating look into the history of third parties.
I'm working on my next book right now, and it's completely different than that. But just if you think about you mentioned Quietus versus just a resin cast Matrix that you would wear on a chain around your neck at a OTFCC or a BotCon. How far we've come is just it's mind blowing, and it makes me.
It's amazing how far we've come since Generation 1.
It's amazing how far we've come since 2005.
But here's the thing, Duran. Have we really come that far at all in terms of what the characters we're representing? The technology, yes. The plastics, yes. The chemicals, the paint, yes. But we're still, Generation 1 is still alive and thriving in nearly every single line.
But could you imagine having that kind of toy in 1984?
Here's the thing, though. In 1984, G1 Prime was this Prime.
I know,
Because
but I mean, having that toy.
Yeah,
having
I know.
that
I know,
toy in
but I'm
1984.
saying, in '84, that G1 Prime was like this to us.
It was.
Because we had never seen anything like it.
And the reason why is because the imagination we had as a kid. In my imagination, I didn't have G1 Prime, but I had the Ultra Magnus Cab, and to me that was the Ghost Prime. And all of my G1s, even Broadside, had all the posability of these guys in my mind.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I sit there and I mess with a toy like this, and I try to think of, I'm like, I would have loved this as a kid. But at the same time, I kind of wonder how I would really, really feel if I took this toy back to 1984 and gave this to my 1984 self. How would I feel?
But you know what? In 1984, Optimus was the most posable Transformer ever.
He had elbows.
He had elbows. He had knees. The only thing, he couldn't turn his head.
Yeah. And it's like, look at this right here. Jump Starter. Generations Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Or at Power of Dakar Legends.
Or Generations Crotch is what you're showing us, yeah.
Yeah.
Down.
I mean, just like it's mind blowing when you think about, it's been a long road getting from there to here. A real enterprise, shall we say.
It's been a long road getting from there to here.
Because the kids that are growing today are growing up with Rescue Bots Academy, and it makes me wonder. I know I've mentioned this before, but 25 years from now, what's a masterpiece going to look like? Is it going to be an Optimus? It's going to be an Armada Optimus Prime. Is it going to be a Beast Machines Optimus Prime? Is it going to be a Rescue Box Optimus Prime? And will it transform?
You don't know.
And Don, you talked about this a little bit before. Like, G1 is still alive, right? And maybe that's the problem, that we don't have enough new characters.
Is somebody's toy actually making noise right now? Because it's coming through.
Not me. Yeah, it's. I've got a poor network connection notification.
Oh, that might be. Well, go ahead, Rick.
Maybe your network connection is making noise. It's the sound of the dial-up and all that.
I went to Walmart today, and what did I buy? I bought a G1 Optimus Prime. Right? Maybe we're so resilient against new characters.
Well, they're
we just need is a fresh break.
They've transitioned now into that evergreen style that they're going with. Where everything kind of looks all pretty much uniform. Like Optimus always has the windows on his chest, and Starscream always has the canopy in the middle of the torso.
I talked a little bit about this at TFCon in Chicago during my panel, but
which streamed live on the Facebook page.
I talked a little bit about the last Transformers, which was like it was just a document pitch that I had, and Aaron said, we're never going to name it the last Transformers, but whatever. It was just a document pitch. That's all it was. It wasn't anything beyond that, but it was all new characters. It was all new characters, and the only old character was Iron Magnus, who was Ironhide. It was just a really, really old Ironhide, and he'd become like Ultra Magnus, and he was
Iron
just like,
Magnus.
And he used the Forge of Solus Prime as like a king, Iron Magnus, and it was just all new characters, and the leader of the Decepticons was all new, and the leader of the Autobots, and all new characters,
He used the Forge of Solus Prime like a cane. Is that what you said?
At the time, we were working on Transformers Prime, and Ultra Magnus had the Forge of Solus Prime as a hammer because he had a hammer in animated. So I said, let's give him the hammer in Prime. So Ironhide just turned the hammer upside down and used it as a cane.
But wouldn't that bring to life the ground with every odd step?
No.
You're thinking too much into it, Jim.
You're thinking too much.
He said the hammer was upside down. I don't know.
Yeah. You're thinking too much. But like it was, I say it's Skip Magnet was he became Magnet Prime, and the whole thing, the whole toy aspect of it was that he could hold the Matrix with a magnet. His hands had magnets in it, so the Matrix could float in his hands.
Neat, kind of like a superconductor almost.
Right. So he would float, and then if you had like a pad, like the special pad, certain characters would float on the pad because of the magnet. And at the time, Hasbro was like looking into like new technologies, and one thing they really wanted to do was like that glow in the dark, like like that you break the glass, you shake it and it glows.
Yeah,
and there was a whole bunch of issues with that because like glass and stuff, but they were really going to that, and I was like, no, magnets. We need to go magnets. Look at
kind of like Star Command. Was it Star Command that used that back in the 80s?
Yeah. They had
Starcom, yeah.
And you put the figure on the base, and the base would rotate. The gun would rotate.
Look at that.
So it was all new characters, and that's what I felt we needed. We just needed all new characters. There was Skip Track, who was like a hot rod sideswipe type character, and Traka, who Eric Siebenaler and I brought up for like the next show past Transformers Prime. But she was a Junkion, and she had a hand that would spin around and become any tool that you needed. Right?
Cool.
He actually released the art for her.
Nice.
And then there was I can't remember all the names of the guys, but they were all just working names. There was like a Soundwave type dude, and a Decepticon. I said, we need more girl characters. We need more girl characters in this.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, where is the Tomb of Optimus Prime? That was the whole arc.
Ooh.
Where is the Tomb of Optimus Prime? And does he still have the Matrix there? Of course, Magnet Prime with the Matrix, but it was just all new characters, and I kind of feel that's what we need. And Rescue Bots does a little bit of that, but they're still relying heavily on iconography and names that are already registered trademarks.
Yeah.
We just need, like what Beast Wars was, a hard break, new characters.
Yeah.
It worked in Beast Wars, it can work again.
I believe Don's connection finally did crap out on him here, but
somebody picked up
because
the
of
phone.
the weather, probably.
Yeah, he is in a snowstorm right now, I believe is what he said before we went live. But, we are at about an hour and a half now, and so we've got a full episode in. I hope everybody enjoyed having Colin Douglas on earlier. He answered a lot of questions about TFCon and announced that Eric Siebenaler is going to be on at TFCon in Los Angeles this year. So that's really awesome. I do want to point out, I didn't get a chance to earlier in the show, but we do have some sponsors up here at the top of the screen. CapturePrey.com. Great toys, great prices, great service. CapturePrey.com. You can save even more on your orders of $150 or more with free domestic shipping. CapturePrey.com. And now there's the Stasis Pod, so you can buy now and ship later and save even more. CapturePrey.com. Ripped Apparel. You can go to Ripped Apparel, and if there's not a better promo code going, you can use the promo code TFYLP Pod, and you will save 10% on your order at Ripped Apparel. And as always, if you love what we do here on TFYLP, it's not free for me to produce this podcast every month, every year. So I need help. And without you guys who are watching, who are listening, TFYLP wouldn't be here right now. So if you love what we do, please go up to patreon.com/TFYLP. Even if it's just $1 a month, every little bit helps. You can do $1 a month up to $100 a month if you want. It really helps keep this show going. And maybe we can buy a better mic for Rick, And a better webcam for Jim other than his cell phone.
How about a better PC?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm me personally, I'm going to have to look for a new cell phone because I dropped my cell phone at work yesterday and did that to the screen. So I've had this thing almost 2 years and it was great until yesterday. Wonderful. But anyway, back to the podcast. I thank everybody who continues to support us each and every month here on TFYLP. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and the cast does too. And I'm sure every viewer and listener to the show does as well. Because, again, without you, TFYLP wouldn't be here. And the more the merrier. I mean, who knows, maybe someday we can have enough to put on a live TV show. I don't know. Yeah. Rick, what the hell? Hasbro put a kibosh on that. What's that?
The whole shebang. Thanks for letting me ramble tonight.
Ramble? Letting you ramble. So, you guys have any closing thoughts? Rick?
I think I just encapsulated it. I think I've talked enough for tonight's episode.
What about you, Jim?
I was actually wanted to ask right quick before we go. Rick, you say you picked up the new G1 Optimus reissue. Have you noticed anything, any striking differences at all between that and the vintage piece?
I didn't open it.
Oh,
That's
not fun.
No, you know me. I got to get two of everything, and at $50, I took the one that I felt was the most mint, and I hid all the other ones behind some other Hot Wheels.
I see.
Am I back?
Yes.
I don't know. Are you?
Okay.
Don, final thoughts.
Yes.
Final thoughts. Okay. Well, I picked up Magnus and Shockwave. Again, when I said I wasn't be buying much of Siege, I knew I was lying to myself. I don't know why I said that. But
it's plastic crack.
Yeah, but Ultra Magnus is the one out of all that we saw initially, the one I knew I wanted. And it's a great looking figure. The weathering, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's
tolerable.
It's tolerable. Like a lot of people, Leader is being a little strong. Look at that gun.
That gun is awesome.
Yeah, but I think if we equate size of a character to being a certain class, this guy would be a lot more hollow and not look as good as he does from a structural standpoint to be a proper leader, and I'm air quoting that. So, again, though, I will say this: you've all seen the pictures comparing him to the Magnus we got 2 years ago that they got the Optimus from. And we got the leader last year, the Power of the Primes Optimus, with Orion Pax, compared to the leader of this year. So I think it's more the mass of the plastic in the figure and accessories making up for not being a certain size.
Yeah.
Well, I think they also listened to the fans because a lot of us were complaining about the hollowness of the figures and how you had these big gaping holes that were like on the fronts of the figure, or you could almost see through the toy on a lot of them. And that was even up until just 2 or 3 years ago. But over the last 3 years, they've been getting much better. I'm not saying there's no hollowness at all, but there's not as much as there was.
Yeah.
It's
about that.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was just saying we were pretty critical about that. Although I actually forgot about the weathering details. Is there supposed to be weathering the paint apps on like the Micromasters and the Battle Masters at all?
Not really. It's very minimal. It's mostly Deluxe and Up that has the weathering.
Okay, because I forgot to mention during Out to My Wallet, I also picked up Lionizer today as my first Siege figure and a childhood favorite character, from Rad, of course. And I was just noticing when you said that there didn't seem to be any weathering paint apps or anything on the Lionizer
like
here.
no paint apps. If you watched the Facebook Live mini cast earlier this week, they talked about the Battle Masters and the Target Masters. There's like hardly any paint apps at all on them.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have like painted eyes and an insignia, and that's
Yeah,
about
well,
it.
I'm thinking that's because of the price point. To get it under that price point, adding the extra weathering would not have made like you could have got the weathering, but not the effects parts. And I would much rather, of course, have the effects parts, which is, I think, Rick, is this the first time we've gotten effects parts with Transformers in this fashion? I mean, Bandai's been doing it for years on their figure arts and stuff like that. But on an American release, this is the first time we've gotten that, isn't it?
It is. It's something Hasbro's been doing for almost 10 years, though, with Star Wars.
That's
right. The blaster effects and stuff.
Blaster effects or lightsaber effects. So it's something they've been doing for a long time, but to see it in Transformers, it's a welcome change. It's something new.
But the lightsaber itself is an effect. Think about it.
Well, anyway, we've run our course for this episode of TFYLP. As always, if you have comments after the show goes off the air, if you're listening to the audio version, you can either go to the YouTube or go to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TFYLP. Join up there if you haven't already, and you can discuss any topic that we've had here on TFYLP. And as I mentioned earlier to Jim, whenever he was talking about Lionizer, we do have a weekly mini cast that goes on. It's a little bit shorter than the main podcast here. We generally try to keep them to an hour or less, preferably 45 minutes or less. But it's more condensed and more specialized. Like this past week, Lucas and Anna and Christian, they talked about the Battle Masters from Siege and compared them to original Target Masters, and lots of great discussion on that. And it's more focused on something very specific. And that's only on Facebook Live. So go to our tftalk.net Facebook page, follow it, like it, and you will get all the notifications for whenever we go live. This podcast is now live on Facebook as well. I know I goofed and I started it a little late on Facebook, so I apologize for that tonight. But I had a late start. But as always, you can see lots of great news that's shared on the tftalk.net Facebook page, and the TFYLP minicast, which is Tuesday nights at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. It's a lot later in the day than we normally go, but it's a great show. So check it out. There's no audio version of it, and it's not on YouTube. It's on our Facebook page only. So please check it out. Guys, it's been great having you on this week.
Yeah.
It's been great to be on.
Thank you much.
Don.
Don, you need to get one of those and have a label put on it that says Don Perignon.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys.
Leave the puns to professionals there.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you next time on TFYLP. Good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.